So this one's a little different. We have three rational expressions in our inequality. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 0. So I'm going to subtract the 3x over. So I'm moving this over there. So I'll have 1 over 2 plus 4 over x squared minus 3 over x is less than 0. Well, they're separate. Oops, I forgot the squared. Okay, they're separate terms right now, separate rational expressions. I have to get them to be one rational expression. So I'm going to have to add them together, add and subtract. So I need a common denominator. And the common denominator is going to be 2x squared. So think LCD 2x squared. So I'll multiply by x squared here. I'll multiply by 2 here. And then I'll have to multiply by 2x here. And then that'll get them all to have the same denominator. So I'll have x squared over 2x squared plus 8 over 2x squared minus 6x over 2x squared. And I want that to be less than 0. So then I'm going to have in the numerator x squared plus 8 minus 6x over 2x squared. And I need to rewrite that, so take a little more space here. X squared minus 6x plus 8 over 2x squared. And we're saying, when is that less than 0? Okay, so a little bit of work just to get to that point. Now we have one rational expression, and we're saying it's less than 0, so that means we want it to be negative. Okay, boundary points. So when does x squared minus 6x plus 8, when does that equal 0? So over here we're doing our boundary points. And we do that by setting the numerator to 0 and the denominator. Okay, so this factors x minus 2 and x minus 4. So I get x could be 2 or 4. So I get 2 boundary points there. But I also have to look at the denominator. So when does 2x squared equal 0? Well, when x is 0. So this time 0 is a boundary point, and I have 3 boundary points this time. That's exciting. Okay, so where can we write this? Oh, I think I might run out of room. Okay, so boundary points. We're going to have 1 at 0, we're going to have 1 at 2, and we're going to have 1 at 4. Okay, those are the boundary points. Now, are we going to include any of them? No, because it's less than 0. So I can't have the numerator be 0, and I definitely can't have the denominator be 0. So we won't include them, dotted lines here to remind us we're not going to include those. So I'm going to need 4 colors this time. Okay, so here come my test points. So we'll use this, we'll just write it up here. And so we're testing. I need a number less than 0, so a negative number. Negative 1. Now, I'm going to rewrite that as x minus 2 times x minus 4 over 2x squared. And is that less than 0? So I'm going to be putting in a negative 1. Negative 1 minus 2, negative 1 minus 4, all over 2 times negative 1 squared. Now, I can do the calculation, but what I really want to know is, are things positive or are things negative? So this part here is negative, this part here is negative, and this part down here is positive, right? Because when you square a negative, that's going to be positive. So I get a negative, negative, positive. So it's going to be positive over positive, which is positive. And is a positive number less than 0? No. So I wound up doing this one in blue, but I don't like the blue. I'll save that for another example. Okay, so no, this one doesn't work. Okay, So we picked -1, and the answer was no. All right, now we pick something between 0 and 2. Well, I'd like an integer, so I'll pick 1. And then I'm putting it in. So if we get 1 minus 2, 1 minus 4 over 2 times 1 squared. So now what do I get? I get a negative here, I get a negative here, and I get a positive here. Okay, so that's going to work. Or I'm sorry, that's not going to work, because I'm going to have positive over positive, which is positive, and I want it to be negative. So no, this section's not going to work either. Now, some of you are saying, wait a minute, positive, negative, what are you talking about here? You could actually write out the numbers. So you could do the math. -1 times -3 over 2 times 1. And then it just takes a little bit of work to do that. So you get 3 over 2. And we want to know, is that less than 0? And 3 over 2 is a positive number, so it's not less than 0. So sometimes I just think of the positive and negativeness of it, and it makes it a little bit less writing. Okay, now I need a number between 2 and 4. So I'll pick 3. 3 is between 2 and 4. All right, and so then I get, and we're always going back up to this rational expression, and I use the factored form because I think it's easier to do it that way. So 3 minus 2, that's going to be positive. 3 minus 4, that's going to be negative. And then I'm going to have 2 over 3 squared, which is also going to be positive. So I'm going to have a positive here, I'm going to have a negative here, I'm going to have a positive down here. So it's going to wind up being negative, some negative answer. I don't know what it is. And is that less than 0? Yes. And again, some of you might say, because I find students don't like to think in terms of positive and negative, so they want to write out the numbers. 1 times -1 over, it's going to be 2 times 9, which is 18. So you're going to get a -1 over 18, and is that less than 0? And yeah, so yes. So whether you write out the numbers or you think in terms of positive and negative, that doesn't really matter to me. Just have to do one or the other. Now remember, I had said in another video, there's not always 3 sections. This time there's 4 sections. So I need a number bigger than 4. And I'm going to use 5. 5 is bigger than 4. And then I'll have 5 minus 2. 5 minus 4 over, I forgot to write in orange, 2 times 5 squared. So I want to know if that's less than 0. Well, this is going to be positive. This is going to be positive. The bottom's going to be positive. But again, if you want to write out the numbers, you'd get 3 times 1 over 50. Because 25, 5 squared is 25. 25 times 2 is 50. All right, so you get 3 over 50. Is that less than 0? No, it's positive. So the positive number is not less than 0. So no. So after all that, we have 4 sections and only one of them worked. But that's okay. You know, could the 3 sections have worked and one of them not worked? Could 2 sections work and one of them not, or 2 of them not work? Yeah. But this time the answer is going to be from 2 to 4. We won't include the 2 and we won't include the 4. So that's the answer. That was a long one.